In this video, I'm going to show you how to set up a more user-friendly URL for Yurbi than server name slash Yurbi. So in this case, we're going to actually put a Yurbi server on the public-facing internet. You would do similar things for your internal DNS if you were just keeping this within your organization and not making it available on the internet. So by default, it's going to be server name slash Yurbi as the URL. And if Yurbi is the only application using IIS on the server. So I'm going to bring up IIS information, Internet Information IIS Manager. And on this particular server, as you'll see, there's only one site, the default website. And this is a brand new, fresh, dedicated server for Yurbi. So if that's your use case, you can follow this procedure. If you do have Yurbi on a server where there are multiple applications using Yurbi, there's going to be a different procedure. We'll do a different video for that, but you'll have to get into the bindings and some other steps. But this is going to be fairly simple because Yurbi is the only web server, the only application using IIS in this case. So in our case, we're going to use Cloudflare as our DNS provider, and we're going to make a URL called example.yurbionline.com. So for my host name field, I'm going to put an example. I'm going to do an A record, so that's the first key. For the IP address, I'm going to put the IP address of this particular server. Now this is the internet facing IP address. I'm going to turn off Cloudflare's routing there. That's what that does if you do use Cloudflare, and add that as a record. And then you'll see that that's going to be added as example points to that IP address, and it's a A-type record. And that's essentially it. Now if I go, and Cloudflare is pretty fast, so we don't have to really give that a lot of time to update. But if I go to example.yurbionline.com/Yurbi, that slash Yurbi is still important. You'll see that will load, and I'm able to log in without any issue, and everything will work as normal. Now let's take this a little step further and get rid of the slash Yurbi in the URL, and that's going to be a little bit of an extra configuration. So in this case, so the first thing we're going to do in this case is stop the Yurbi service. Let me bring up Windows Services. We're going to scroll to the very bottom where your Yurbi master service is running, and I'm going to stop that. If you're using our Postgres embedded database, you might also see Yurbi database service. You don't have to stop that. You just need to stop the Yurbi master service. I'm going to keep this open because we're going to have to restart that after the end. Now I'm going to go back into my IIS manager, and I'm going to right click on that default web server, go to manage website and advanced settings. There's going to be two things I change on the default website. Again, you're only going to do this if Yurbi is the only thing using this particular IIS server. There's another step to do this if you have other web applications using IIS. First thing we're going to do is change this application pool by clicking on these three little dots there and change it to the Yurbi app pool and hit OK. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to change this physical path. We're going to go ahead and pick where we installed Yurbi, which is going to be C drive, program files, x86, Yurbi, and I'm going to pick the folder called front end. So you may have changed it from the default. You'll pick the appropriate place of Yurbi slash front end. I'm going to hit OK. You could always restart IIS. It's not required in that case. The last, well, not the last thing, but the next thing we're going to do is open up the Yurbi configuration. So in your start program, there should be a Yurbi programs file, and you'll see that there's a Yurbi service configuration here. And I'm going to right click on that, as we always say, go to more and say run as administrator. I'm also going to show you, if you don't see that, then what you can do is navigate to your C drive, program files, the Yurbi main directory, and scroll down, and you'll also see the Yurbi Windows Services.config, the exe version of that. And I'm going to right click on that and say run as administrator from here. This will start up your Yurbi application settings window. Let's bring that into the middle. We're going to go to the web settings tab, and then this Yurbi web client, we're going to take this directory, we're going to take Yurbi out, and we're just going to put a single period in here and hit save. And now the last thing we're going to do is go back into our services and go ahead and restart that master service. And that'll complete this process. So now that that's running, and we didn't restart IIS, but let's go ahead and pop into our browser. Now, if I take out the /Yurbi part of that example.yurbi online and hit enter, you'll see that it's going to take a second because IIS has to refresh itself, but there's our login. We can log in, and now we have a very friendly URL. But one key thing here is this is on the public internet now, so the next thing that we're going to want to do is put an SSL certificate and make this HTTPS. So we're going to do another video for that, and we'll also do another video in case you have multiple applications using the same IIS server. If you have any questions at all, just reach out to us at support@yurbi.com. We'll be happy to help.